T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Coolest reptile podcast in the world. Welcome to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast /network, episode 460. All on the Tree Tuesdays, that time of the week. Got Ryan Young. What is good, everyone? I'm your boy, MJ. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. No, it's only Tuesday, but hell, man. We had Trap Talk last night, Trap Talk tonight. Your week's going great, let's admit, man. And tonight's episode, I hope you guys are freaking ready, man, because it's going to be hot. And if you're into keeping reptiles out there, either just as pets or if you want to learn how to breed someday or whatever, man, and it's your first time tapping in, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. You'll be reminded on top of every single podcast on top of this channel. You can also listen to this podcast on all the major audio platforms such as Buzzsprout, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, everywhere. Okay, so and moving forward, any other new segments you can listen to on the audio platforms as well. So I'm give all you audio lovers out there everything you guys want. All right, but I just got to say thank you wherever you listen to Trap Talk. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Shout out to the early birds. I'll get to you guys in a minute. First and foremost, support US ARC. Super crucial. US ARC Florida. Please support them. Second link in the description below. Read about US ARC if you don't know what US ARC stands for. I think it's kind of like a one-on-one at this point if you're in the reptile game. Seriously, man, help these numbers get up. Never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, and you just want to be on top of things. Shout out to Phil Goss. Shout out to the entire US ARC team, and shout out to you if you support US ARC. Really means a lot. And I just want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by one of my favorites, if not my favorite on YouTube, Gary Shavino over at GS Reptiles. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You will be on top of all of Gary's content. His vlogs are amazing. You learn so much by every single one that he drops. But now, apparently, you can be one of the first to get your hands on some of the stuff that Gary has available by subscribing to his YouTube channel. You just never know, all right? It's chess, not checkers. There are strategic ways on knowing how certain players like Gary Shavino have stuff available in the game. You just got to tap in. All right. So go subscribe to Gary's content. Again, GS Reptiles on YouTube, and also follow him on Instagram. All right. Shoot him a message. Let him know the trap sent you. You're not going to go wrong by following GS Reptiles. Shout out to Gary Shavino. It's my dog. I also want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by my man over at SUNDOWN Reptiles, Brian Susan. I am Team Susan all day when it comes to tree monitors because he's helping me so much, and I'm establishing a lot of good things towards the tree monitor projects. So, but listen, if you're into tree monitors or you want to learn more about tree monitors or you want to get your hands on the best tree monitors being produced here in the United States, then you're going to want to head over to sundownreptiles.com and follow Brian over at SUNDOWN Reptiles on Instagram. He also has amazing, beautiful high-end geckos that he breeds. All right. He also breeds a Bronia. I don't know if that's available. You're going to have to check in on that one. But either way, my man Brian Susan is not to be slept on. Super, super real deal Holyfield in the reptile game, and just really happy and excited to have him be a part of the trap. Thank you, Brian Susan. Again, Brian Susan. Sundownreptiles.com. Head over there. All right. And then I got to say shout to the best guy representing the yellow neonates out of the state of Texas, 110%. It's him. Mark Hager. This is your guy. If you're weird and you're like, oh, Team Yellow, whatever, well, then fucking this is your guy right here for sure. Because Mark Hager is here to make crazy noise with the yellow neonates, and I believe in him for sure. Because you can't, I mean, he shows you everything. The proof is in the Hager. The proof is in the Texas Chondros. Go to TexasChondros.com, see what he has available. Also follow Mark Hager, Texas Chondros on IG. All right. Puts a lot of the Texas keepers on. And he's just a really good guy. All right. So thank you so much, Mark. Can't wait to have you back on the trap. You are definitely highly requested when it comes to chondro episodes. That's a fact. Last but not least, shout out to David Brahms over at the Reptile Perch. All right. Everything you see behind me, all my boreal snakes posted on a reptile perch designed by the man himself, David Brahms. Head over to the reptileperch.com. All right. See what perch he has available that could customize and fit your fittings inside your tubs. He does it all, man. He's the man. So thank you so much, David Brahms. Appreciate the love and support. And I hope you guys are ready. All right, because yes, the mayor always on time. Marshall Mendez, whenever he wants, I guess.
Look at us.
Hey, I made it. I made it.
But look how clear the picture is, bro. He paid attention to instructions for once. This is great, dude.
Are the earbuds? Earbuds are working, huh?
I'm normally against them, but just roll with it, buddy. I want it to be all positive right now. I think you sound great. You look great. The mayor in the building, of course. How you guys doing, man? What's going on? I always miss Tuesdays because of you.
Did you guys miss me? I wasn't here last Tuesday. You guys were talking about the other white meat. Can you still say that?
I actually forgot about that. Yeah, Bill wasn't even here last week. Bill was
here Tuesday.
Bill was in Mexico.
Yep. Jet setting.
Yeah. Okay. So, Bill, how was vacation, bro? Let's get to that. How was Mexico?
Fantastic. Perfect weather. We had 1 day of rain, but not bad at all.
I want at least 1 day of rain for some reason when I go to Mexico. I just love it when it rains there. It's not your typical rain, you know?
No, it didn't ruin the trip. It didn't disappoint. Missed you guys, of course.
Yeah, I miss you guys for sure. I mean, Marshall's whatever. You know, Marshall doesn't even miss himself. Like he's just whatever. Fucking, you know what I mean? But dude, what's up, Marshall? How you living, buddy?
Good, man. Just good. Hectic. Ready for the show tonight.
Yeah. Were you coming straight from your son's practice or what?
Game, yeah. Straight from the game.
Okay. Damn. How's that going?
So, they were losing when I left, but there was I don't know. We'll see if they pull it out.
How do you think Ryan Young's going to pull it out tonight with this whole yellow neonate is like the king?
He better be ready because the knives are coming out tonight.
I don't understand how he plans on getting by all this shit tonight.
He doesn't have Mark Hager here to be his wingman. Back him up. Lift him up off the pavement.
But I'm not gonna lie, bro. The way Ryan's been in the comments, it doesn't look like he doesn't need anybody. It seems like he has some pretty strong views on why he feels yellows are what yellows are. And
no, he's got strong views, all right. Yeah.
Well, I really don't want to waste any time. I want to get straight to it. I know Ryan's ready, so I don't know about you guys. Are you guys down to just get to it or what?
Do it.
I'm ready.
All right, guys. Shout out to all the early birds. Everyone's in the chats. I appreciate you guys. If you think tonight's episode is worthy of any super chats, don't be shy. Especially if you have a question or a topic, drop that. And let's do this, man. It's that time to get your mind right. Time to stay hydrated. Episode 460. Ryan Young, all in the Tree Tuesdays, coming at you right now. Let's go.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crowd, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we're live, episode 460. Wait. Oh my God, who's this? Special guest? Patrick. I'm just kidding. No, Patrick. I thought. No, I'm just kidding.
Ryan.
Hey, man, how's it
Ryan,
going?
what's up, buddy?
There he
Not
is.
much. Just freezing up here in the Great White North.
Fuck, you got your sweater on. You look great, buddy.
Thanks.
Idaho, what time zone is that? Is that like Alaska or Hawaii or some shit?
No, me and MJ are in the same time zone.
Yeah, Pacific.
Man,
Yeah.
you're just a whole lot colder.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
It's 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees here today, almost.
Oh, well, it was 30-something degrees here today.
Jesus.
It was 94 degrees here yesterday.
Wow. Okay, so we're getting warm weather too. I mean, other than Ryan. Ryan's the only one getting fucked right now with the weather.
Well, it's hot for this time of year. We're usually got like 3 feet of snow. There's no snow. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, that's what Mark Bailey was saying. Shout out to Mark Bailey. He's in town, and he was like, "It's a weird time of year for having no snow right now." And I don't know, like is this the coldest time of year it's supposed to be for you right now, Ryan? Typically,
No, I'd say December, January is usually the worst.
Okay, so you're already leaning towards warmer weather already.
Yeah. But we usually have like 20 inches of snow that's still sticking around. But
Yeah.
It's bare ground, no snow, so it's pretty weird.
You got 20 inches of yellow neonate knowledge you're about to drop on us tonight? Because I don't know. Okay, but what is it? Okay, first off, I always appreciate and say the story on how when you and I met at Bill's, you gave me that talk about hybrids and how I shouldn't look at a Chondro no different than a designer Chondro because they're the same in a sense, according to what you were saying. And that was a really mind-blowing conversation we had, and I appreciate that conversation. But now what is it about yellow neonates and red neonates should all go to hell? What's going on with that?
Well, I guess I should start with I like red neonates just fine. After watching your show with Mark, I just couldn't get over it. Never really occurred to me how, I mean, I've always known the guys favored the reds, but I didn't realize what a rampant incestuous situation it was. So it's quite disappointing that these guys that come across as the Chondro kings don't have it in their heart for the most beautiful Chondros there is. So.
Whoa!
According to Ryan Young's theory of evolution,
that's the thing about beauty, though. It is of subjective terms. So.
According to the Ryan Young theory of evolution, in 100,000 years, there's not going to be a single red neo green tree on the planet.
Yep.
Right?
That'll happen eventually.
Except in my ancestor collection. There will be
we'll be long dead. So whatever we do will be very insignificant at that point.
So have you really been oblivious as far as like how reds have been the go-to like thing for any new Chondro keeper? Like that's what they're obsessed over is the reds, not the yellows?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize. I knew that a lot of the guys that are into the hybrid mutts, I knew they like the red stuff. But I was just surprised that so many guys, just absolutely despise the yellows. And honestly, the lay person that doesn't know anything about Chondros, when I take a red baby and a yellow baby to a show and I stick them in a cup, the layperson stares at the yellow baby. It's just how it is.
I agree 100%. But you can say the same thing about a piebald and a $10,000 designer ball python.
Yep.
Yeah, well, your red nuts are basically like ball morphs. You guys don't actually want green snakes. So I don't know what it's hard to differentiate the two.
Okay, but that's
anybody that would compare a Carpondro to a red neo outcross has got to have their vision checked.
You guys like to throw around these terms like outcross and shit. Why don't you just call it what it is? They're fucking.
Hey, I call them hybrids. I don't hide behind it. I call them hybrids.
10 years ago, they weren't.
No, that's not true. They've always been hybrids. People just weren't dumb enough to see it.
No, the taxonomy changed.
Yes, science is always.
Somebody had to get their name. Somebody had to get a snake named after them. So we all got to have hybrids now.
The snake wasn't even named after anybody. Uterensis was the new name. All the other names are from the 1800s. Polker was named in like 1870 something. Viridis was named a long time ago. So Azuria was named a long time ago. These aren't new things. These have always been a thing.
So why is it that these names aren't mentioned as much as Aru and Sarong and Monocore? Like, why is it only those names people first look into versus what you're saying? Like, where's the gap on that? I'm confused.
Well, the problem is in the early, when taxonomy first became a thing, all this taxonomy is human beings trying to compartmentalize life on Earth. That's really all it is. And so you had a situation where back in the day, they had to describe a species and then they had to put their information out there and other people had to see it. Well, they assumed when all these people were describing species at the same time within a couple of years of each other, they assumed that the people who did the paper for Azuria had never seen the description for Viridis. It was done in a different country. It was done in a different language often. And then, so they later taxonomists went, oh, those names, we're going to synonymize them with Viridis. Viridis was the first. And they just assumed the other names, that those people didn't know Viridis had already been described. And that may or may not have been the case. But the reality is they actually got it right. Those three species were named, before the 1900s. And it wasn't until, later science with DNA came and officially recognized it. But that doesn't mean it was never a thing. It's just like basin emeralds and northern emeralds. I don't remember anybody in the entire time I was in the hobby that thought those were the same snakes. But they're too, well, Marshall likes screwing everything to everything. So let's just get that right squared away.
Well, here's the thing about Marshall, because you would think, okay, you don't really know Marshall's collection. You would think he doesn't have any hybrids, so you say. But no, he does, for sure. And he's bred that. He's bred them for a while. I'm not just saying chondros. I'm saying the emeralds.
Yeah, no, he did some dastardly shit with those. So. I mean, listen, I saw your 50, I saw the 50/50s and I was like, okay, I can see why people did it. But as soon as you start going 75, I mean, those 75%ers you produced, man, most people couldn't tell those from a northern. And so
I don't know about that. The 75% northerns were actually the most extreme out of all the ones that I produced. There were 75% northern, though.
I thought looked more northern than anything. And the layperson wouldn't know that wasn't a northern.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a range.
Yeah.
Now, what can you explain really the, shout out to my boy Tim, man. That's our dog, first and foremost. But, Tim had a question, innocent question, and you kind of went in on him a little bit as far as like, why would you want to do that? And I think he was just out of curiosity wondering what would happen or what would be. But like, for instance, why wouldn't anyone want to put, I think he wanted to put another basin to the percentage.
No, he wanted to do another northern.
Can you tell me can you break it down what it was? I can't remember exactly.
He wanted to breed a pure northern to a 75% northern hybrid. So he would have made an 87.5% northern. And at that point, we've seen it in the carpet world. You get them to 87% one thing. You can't tell it from the other thing. So I'm not, I was a little curious why you would do that, especially with his stance on like, I wouldn't hybridize basins. Like they're special, but fuck those northerns. That's
Is this a green tree episode or is this a?
Hey, relax, Bill. Calm down.
Hey, I thought this was all in the trees. I'm probably the only guest. I probably have more all in the tree species than any person you've ever had on this.
You have more species than anybody. Period.
Right.
So
that's not fair.
I have every Corallus you can get. I have all 4 chondro species. I keep most of the scrub pythons. I have everything that lives in a fucking tree.
Damn. I mean, so it might get everywhere tonight, Bill, respectfully.
Well, I was talking to Alex today, and Alex asked me a question about Ryan that I couldn't even answer. What green tree species, you said you have all 4. What exactly is in your collection? Yeah. I mean, I would love to start there. Like get a breakdown about like what you're working with. I know you're big into Arus.
Yeah, that's the one that basically I'm kind of an obstinate guy sometimes, and the people that when I was coming up, everybody said, a ruse or shit because you can't make high white ones. And so I started paying attention to like what they had actually done, how they came to that conclusion. And I was like, wow, basically they breed one pair of snakes together, raise up 2 babies, and you never knew what happened to the whole clutch. And
You're not introducing UVB into your.
No, you don't need no UVB.
Okay, all right, good. Because for a minute I just was about to fucking freak.
No. So it's the reality is like it's like I kind of chalk it up to like jungle carpets. If you ever catch a jungle carpet in the wild, it doesn't look like the yellow and black jungle carpets we have in captivity.
I know they're real boring. They're all muddy. They're not, the yellow's not clean.
The point is, like, most Aru chondros are not crazy white. If you look at hundreds of imports, which we have over the last 30, 20 years, most of them are pretty average white. There's only like the exceptional 10% that are really extreme. And so I just decided, I actually got rid of every chondro I had other than Arus, and I solely focused on trying to make high white Arus. And lo and behold, you actually can. It's not terribly difficult. You just have to line breed them, and then it pops out.
But what is it about like if you breed 2 high white Arus to each other, you won't get high whites or something like that? Like I heard that's not like the case or some shit.
Yeah, it's not set in stone. It there's probably multiple alleles that go into making a snake show the high white characteristics. And just because you have one high white one, another high white one, and they breed together, if those alleles don't match up, they're not going to express the high white that you want.
So would you say it's a polygenic high white?
Yeah, it's polygenic. Yeah, like most things in the animal kingdom. And so when you breed those babies together, though, and you fix those genes from the original parents, then you start seeing the results. Because I've got an F2, and the F2s I've produced were every bit as nice as the grandparents. So the founder stock.
There could also be a situation though where one parent has a different set of genes that are making it high. So you breed 2 high whites together and they're not necessarily compatible.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Whatever combination of genes made that one high white might not be the same combination that made the other one high white.
Right.
So it just, how it pops out. But if you raise those related animals together and breed them together, you get the results you're after.
So Ryan, you're obviously fucking a vet. You've seen a lot of shit throughout the years, and I know you follow Trooper Walsh's shit from the beginning, or maybe at some point where you've seen crazy red neos, and that was never a fan of. You've never been a fan of that kind of stuff.
No, wow. Never did.
Crazy.
My problem is I like green pythons for what they are.
Right.
And so I get my fix doing weird shit with the ball pythons and blood morphs and stuff.
But see, here, that's another thing too, because you do ball pythons, which is morphs, genetics, and you don't want to do that at least a little bit with the green trees. Like that doesn't make they're way cooler than fucking ball pythons. It's nuts. So what's your rule?
Yeah, but they're way cooler for what they are, not for what you're trying to make them. I mean, Mother Nature, there's a reason why we all loved green pythons on a stick. Mother Nature already created a myriad of beautiful snakes. Why is it the human condition to fuck with that?
But that's like, okay, we invented television and we should have never evolved from black and white. We should have just stayed at fucking the gray and we should have never went to color. That's kind of
but you're saying that by where you're saying is you made TV better. I don't believe what you're doing is making chondros better.
But with ball pythons, if you're going to extrapolate to that ball python, then brown and black should be the best. Why fuck with that?
Do you know
ball pythons is not a good analogy because they are all the same species. I'll give him that much.
No, but he's talking.
I have normal ball pythons. I think ball pythons are pretty as they come.
And don't you have a rule of thumb, Ryan, where you only try to breed stuff that kind of resembles something close to a wild? Like you don't really like to do bright, crazy shit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
well, I just do all pure stuff, so it is what it is. There's no, nothing extra, I guess. I mean, I try to make high white Arus, so I guess you could argue that I'm steering the phenotype away from what's most natural, but I'm still keeping it within the bounds. So far, I have not exceeded I have never produced a captive bred one as extreme as there's probably 5 wild ones I can think of that were more extreme than anything I've produced. But so it's all within the natural phenotype of.
So back to my original question: all of the green tree pythons you're keeping now are Arus.
No, I have. That's the one I'm the biggest in. Well, I got a lot of Polker too.
And so, give me how many Arus do you have, just roughly?
I don't know, probably 15, 20.
Okay. Did most of those you produce, or you've imported, or what?
Yeah, I've got. I don't think I have any I didn't produce at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. I think all my founder stuff is passed on, so it's all my babies.
How many of those 15 are females?
It's probably it's fairly even. I'd say maybe one more female than males.
And then that's stuff that you don't breed every year, obviously. You don't go full blown fucking go for 15 clutches every year, right? Or I mean, not 15, but 8, 7 clutches, right?
No, most of them are just coming into adulthood. I've got 2 pairs paired up now, and it'll be a first time for one and a second time for another. So,
and then what else? So we've gone over the Arus. You said you have some poultry.
Yeah, I probably have more Polker than anything, and that's the northwestern species, which would encompass Manokwari, Sarong, Nabiri, Masul, Kofio, that kind of stuff.
And what would be the category for Aru again?
Viridis.
And that's the same with Biak, right? Biak is Viridis, correct? Or no?
No, Biak is Azuria.
Azuria, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aru is a funny thing. Like they're distinct from the mainland southern stuff and Australia. Those, mainland southern stuff and Australia is known for the white stripe, and Aru is known for the white blotches. Arus are genetically, they cluster on their own. You can genetically tell an Aru from a southern. They're just not divergent enough to be their own thing. And that's because Aru is not an oceanic island. During ice ages, Aru is connected to southern New Guinea.
So I got Bill and Marshall, I have a question. Okay, let's just say whatever Ryan's saying right now has a huge push, and now people are expecting you to label whatever designers that you're breeding to actually have the scientific name. Can you do that?
Shit, no.
Not even close.
No.
It would be like 2% this, 8% that, 11%.
If you could even tell, I mean, there's no way going back onto the pedigrees from the 70s. Nobody had any idea what locality that those animals were.
So it's hard to even tell. Period. No matter what.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah,
and
that ship sailed a long time ago.
And that's when Ryan would say, "Shame on us for doing that." And that's because
Well, that's what Ryan would say, but I mean.
Well, I give a little bit of a pass to the old timers because they had a hell of a time just getting any chondro. So and keeping it alive.
Ryan, even the stuff that comes in now, you don't know. There's no guarantee.
You don't know exactly where it was collected, but you sure as hell can tell what species it is.
Yeah, 100%.
And I honestly, if I could wave my magic wand and change something in the chondro community, I would do away with the micro locality stuff, and I would refer to them as northwestern chondros, southern chondros, northern chondros.
What's considered micro, Ryan?
Like Manokwari. That's micro. Probably none of them are even collected in Manokwari. They'd probably be all collected in the Arfak Mountains next to Manokwari. Just like Cyclops and Jayapura, they're all collected, in that region. They're not collected in the city. So it just.
So Ryan, you can identify 100% which species it is visually.
If it's wild caught, yeah. I would bet if you told me to do it 100 times, if I got to 99, I'd be shocked if I missed one. Some of them are difficult. The captive bred ones, especially some of the red captive bred ones.
Right.
But the wild ones fresh off the boat, it's pretty damn easy to tell what species they're.
So monoquaries could come in red and yellow, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and in the wild, they're not red, or they are red?
No, they're red.
Okay.
It
So
seems to be the further west you go, red disappears. When you get out into the Raja Ampat Islands, they seem to be mostly or all yellow. Kofiau's all yellow. I've only ever seen animals from Mosul that were yellow. Now, whether that's reality or, collection bias, I don't know.
So do you have any red monoquaries or no?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them.
Okay. Wow.
I don't have a problem with red snakes. I just have a problem with people not appreciating the yellows as well.
But
You have a problem with me? Do you have a problem with me, Bill, or Marshall? I'm just curious.
Mostly Marshall.
Well,
Hey, join the club, buddy. Join the club.
Get in line.
He's got those Viridis hybrids. That one just rubs me the wrong way.
but you have a problem with the yellow hybrids too.
Yeah, I got a problem with all the hybrids.
Okay.
No matter.
Yeah.
You don't discriminate. He thinks yellow designers could get it too, for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I think
Mark doesn't get a pass.
nobody gets a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, Mark. Relax a little bit.
I've been doing this a long time, and I've never really had a ton of chondro friends over the years because I see things very differently than most guys, and it's been challenging.
Well, you're in Idaho. You don't have a lot of friends.
That's right. I'm just under my rock up here in the Northwest. So.
I'll say this. As wrong as I think you are most of the time, I've always been friends with you.
Yeah, no, I've never. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, talking to people about chondros, most of the chondro guys, they'll start naming all these snakes, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know anybody's snakes' names. I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah, if someone asks you, like, you have any blue deuce watermelon stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Some kind of drink? Like, I don't know.
I'm not some alcoholic. Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know any of that stuff.
And the first time I heard the term antiurus, I thought that was another term for asshole.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
So you don't even bother even looking to see what's out there though. Like, I mean, it doesn't even interest you that much to see, like, I mean, I know you've been over to Bill's house, right? Wherever Bill just went. And you haven't been to Marshall's, but Marshall works with a lot of Versace and Tiger Calico stuff. But there's nobody out there that you've been kind of just like, oh, I guess that's cool. Like, it all fucking sucks to you is what you're saying.
No, I mean, I can appreciate. I've seen the snakes people post, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I guess I can see the appeal, but it's not has no interest to me personally, and that's people do whatever they want. That's fine. I wouldn't give you a nickel for any of that stuff. I could care less.
there's only one chondro person in the world that I know that doesn't appreciate yellow neos.
Oh yeah, who's that? You?
No, God no. I produce them every year.
Oh, on accident.
Bill's, I know. Yeah.
Well, semi-accident.
So be honest, Bill. If there was a magic wand or some shit, and the chondro guards are like, all right, you have one fucking call this year, Bill. You're about to have over 100 babies. You can make them all red and some yellow, or just all red. What would you do? You'd go all red. Let's be honest.
Fairy dust.
Purple.
Marshall's the man. He's got the most shameful project in the history of chondros.
Damn, Marshall. He's coming
The
at
albino.
Oh, the albino.
Yeah.
What's so shameful about that?
Because they couldn't even fucking do Maruki to save their lives. They wrecked that thing so fucking fast just trying to make a red one. That's all.
I never even had. I mean, it was wrecked when I got it. So
I was supposed to get the last 3 or 4 possible hets from Rico, and then obviously he wasn't right at the end, and so I told him I wanted him. We worked it out, and then I wasn't going to pressure him because he was sick, and then you know, he ended up selling to somebody else. But I didn't want it for the albino thing. I wanted it because they came from some of the nicest Marukis that had ever come in.
Well, that's why he sold it to somebody else. He was just right.
But yeah, no, that project, the reason the guy who started that even had those was because it was some of the best locality chondros in the world. And then as soon as he pops out the albino, he like throws all of his fucking morals out the window. It's fucking crazy.
He did. Yeah, he did. He started breeding that. He started trying to breed that snake to everything, if I'm not mistaken.
They were so fucking focused. Like, okay, the original grandparents of those were two of the best Marukis that have ever existed in captivity. And they couldn't have given a fuck less. They had to breed those things to everything other than Marukis. God only knows why. But we'd have perfectly white striped Marukis right now if these idiots had, you know, played their cards a little better. But
how are the Marukis like that you're seeing back in like Indo and stuff like that? Are you seeing those type stripes like that you're talking about back there, or no? Because you know some of the stuff that we don't have here are like that are like, you know, importers or people back in Indo are working with have that crazy shit. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen. There's a couple pretty spectacular Marukis in the States I'm aware of, but I don't know what'll come of them. I only have one Maruki. He's not the greatest Maruki on earth, but I only have one. So
poor Chuck. Chuck, I think for the last 7 episodes, he's been asking for a prayer and $6 and with a $5 donation. Listen, we all pray for you, buddy. You're going to be fine. I think you just gotta take some deep breaths and just accept whatever fate's coming your way. But we all wish you success, Chuck, with your chondros, eggs. You know, don't ask Marshall.
If you want to know Pip, that's good.
Do not ask Marshall for anything, or don't even let the guy know anything. Okay, I would avoid Marshall at all costs if you just want to.
Get those scissors out, Chuck. Don't listen to him. Get those big shears out.
Marshall will tell you to throw them in the garbage.
Marshall could Nido test a Neo through the egg
with a fucking 16 penny nail.
52 days, they're obviously ruined.
Especially if it's got the chance to be yellow, man, he'll definitely hit it with that nail.
Marshall's analysis, genetics, they're weak. Throw it away. No,
those
but okay.
Inferior yellows.
On the topic of that, okay, you say day 51, no pip. You say that's a good thing. Were you being serious, or when do you normally get pips? When's like the average for you?
Well, when you cook them hotter, they pip faster, but they seem to develop better if they go like 52, 54.
And that's at what temps do you do that to get them on that day?
87-ish, give or take.
Okay. And that's what you Bill. Bill's 87-ish, right, Bill?
87, 87.5, yeah.
Yeah.
I usually get right at day 50.
You still get them at 50 at that temp?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't. Mine are 52, 53, and I'm 87-ish.
I think it also matters how hot you kept the mom too.
Right. What about the male? Like sometimes, I mean, a male being too hot could really have some sort of poor or good outcome on the eggs, or do you think for a male being kept too hot?
I don't know. I see people blaming males for all kinds of stuff, and I think that's just ignorant. There's very little evidence to suggest that there's fertility issues with male pythons. I think it's easier to blame the male for the things we do wrong than blaming, you know. Everybody goes, oh, it's slugs. Oh, it's the male's fault. Oh, it's this. It's the male's fault. Like, no, that's horseshit.
I've always been told it's the female's fault. Like, for
it's our fault.
Oh,
that's I mean, you want to know if you
played in a while.
If you do something, if your female's slugging out, it's something you did.
You don't think there's slugs laid in the wild?
I bet it's extremely low.
I mean, what about from an older female that was an import that just hasn't laid in a long time? I mean, and she like finally does go and she slugs. That's, you can't say that.
You could have slug related issues based on just sheer age of the snake.
Right.
But I mean, there's always outliers.
Well, I just had my most recent clutch was slugs from an old girl, so don't make me feel like a piece of shit, Marshall Jr. Fuck, dude. God, dude. Oh,
gotta watch that heat, man.
No, but I mean, I've learned a lot just off listening to a lot of you guys about heat, and I definitely understand that part now for sure, because these things don't need as much heat as people think they need. Especially when people come from the ball python side of things, because ball pythons, let's be honest, you could give it a hotspot 24/7, and that you're, obviously judging off your ambience, you could easily get away with that, not changing a fucking thing from what I've seen. I don't keep them that hot, but I know you can, and I know that's going to be a lot different working with like stuff like what's behind me,
Yeah, you still, I mean, the guys that give them heat all the time still get a lot more slugs than the ones who don't.
Ryan, I had a Carpondro female slug out once. What do you think was going on there?
Well, I heard those Carpondros just suck, so I can't fucking comment on that. But
Gary Jr.
So,
I
like,
know the only thing, like, I was ultrasounding snakes with Tracy one day down at VPI, and she was showing me how not all of the eggs are fully developed at the same time.
right?
And it was her. She was the one who was like saying if the snake ovulates too soon, that the slugs are the result of an immature ovum, a prematurely ovulated ovum. And from what I've seen, it sure seems to fit the bill. That's what a slug is.
I have a super chat. Want to drop real quick. Shout out to Orange County Chondros. His super chat question is: if you guys had to start over with a 1.1, what locality or line breed would you have? Would you have gotten? We already know Ryan would just go Aru, right? Aru, you wouldn't change a shit, would you, Ryan?
I mean, I might go Maruki because it's one I haven't done. So
okay, Maruki.
I might go Maruki.
What about you, Bill?
Well, I guess I would have to go with a Von Myriop bred to a northern type.
Oh God,
that's what produces.
All right, Marshall. What about you?
If I had to pick, I'm going Biak.
Really? I didn't see that coming. I thought you were a closet Aru guy.
I mean, I am, except they only have yellow babies. Other than that, they're awesome.
I love that. And you know what? That was my answer for sure. Is pure BX. I would just go with BX and just that would be my thing for sure.
I do like Aru's. Aru's probably my favorite locality. As far as if you pick the best example of every locality, I think Aru's are probably the best. But there's just so many that are just they don't have the white and they don't have the blue. They're just kind of bleh, they're just screaming.
But they are. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, if I could go best of the best locality, you take the best phenotype. I mean, I'd go Kofiau. I'll take Kofiau.
Yeah, but there's something weak about those, right? Because we failed miserably with that project in the United States, from what I heard.
Oh yeah, no, that's another shamefully disgusting period of our past.
Wow, and Bill wants it back. I love it.
Ryan saying,
yeah, I don't think that was the snake's problem. I think it was just people not breeding them.
Ryan's not saying producing pure Kofiau is a bad thing, right?
No, I'm saying that that was an amazing opportunity to preserve an amazing naturally occurring snake, and we completely shit the bed and let that go.
Okay, so give me an example what went wrong with that then, with the Kofiau.
People bred them to everything.
The majority of the people that got them instantly fucked them to everything but a Kofiau.
Right.
Wow, so nobody made pures.
And then the problem with Kofiau is it's a tiny island, so there's a reason they didn't have a huge population to begin with. And from my understanding, the only reason we ever started getting Kofiaus is they turned that island into a palm oil plantation.
Oh wow!
So that snake is probably extinct for the most part, or basically extinct, functionally extinct. And so we had an opportunity to preserve a pretty badass naturally occurring snake, and we totally failed. And I'll even put myself in that. I was one of the few people that did actually breed them pure, and Rico wanted my adults really bad, and I wanted to focus on doing a ruse, and so I parted with them, and I regret it big time.
Damn, it's crazy how things could just happen the way they do and you don't even see it during the moment, Apparently Patrick had an opportunity. He fucked it up. Way to go, Patrick. Just kidding, Patrick. But it is crazy to hear about. And then also what was the story behind the lemon tree?
That lemon trees were probably not. Yeah. I don't know if they were designer, but they weren't. They were just green snakes. I don't know if I don't know what locality they were. Not sure if they were wild caught, but I know that the founders were not high yellow.
I thought Forrest had a lemon tree, some sort of a lemon tree snake that was like fucking crazy yellow looking. I'm confused.
Yeah, they were yellow, but the parents that produced the initial super high yellow lemon trees were just green.
Gotcha.
They were pretty plain green too, if I remember. Like just the most boring. Didn't look like much.
But they were, they were a locality, or they were.
I don't know. The localities weren't
some kind of mutt.
Yeah, I don't know. Localities weren't really that big of a. I mean, this is probably mid '90s, early '90s when the first lemon trees were produced. So I mean, I don't know that. I mean, certainly some localities were a thing by then, but what's he saying? They were mutts.
I have to confirm they are mutts. Yeah, thanks for the confirmation, Patrick. Appreciate you. That's all we need, Patrick. Please don't start talking. Just kidding. But I want to know where things come about, right? And one of the things that always kind of scared me away from Arus, and I'm kicking myself in the feet, were the whole like pure Arus are a fucking pain in the ass to get feeding. Where did that come from?
I think it came from, somebody has one bad experience and then they chalk it up to that. And it's, if you look back on the history of locality stuff, there was a pretty active anti-locality movement. And I understand why. Those guys had invested a lot of time, effort into their captive bred projects. And I do, there were slogans like, captive bred's best, avoid the rest, all that kind of shit. And that's fine. I'm fully support captive breeding, but to deny that those imports were, unique things, I think was pretty ignorant. And I think a lot of people's information that they passed along, I can't help but believe a lot of it was fairly biased in their agenda to shit on locality, snakes to start with. So
I can't tell, Ryan. Was this picture an old picture that you dug up, or is this a current picture? Is this with this snake?
No, that's an import I got like 15 months ago.
And how many have you made that look resemblance to like this right here?
That's Pulcher. That's not Viridis.
Oh, okay.
That's not an Aru.
So that's a monocory?
Yeah.
And you've made pure monocories before, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you planning? Are you going to try to breed that to an Aru?
That's crazy. That's not That's
what I do.
I have a pretty decent high white female for him, so I'll be doing a yellow line breeding to try to make high white Azuria or Pulcher as well.
I could have sworn that was an Aru, bro. The way that thing.
Most people thought it was an Aru. That's why it's pretty funny. That's why I posted him.
But if you look closely, you can totally see that it's definitely.
Yeah, he's basically a blue triangle, sarong manicorai type. He just has more white than most of them do.
And he's a male.
Yeah.
And he's already ready to breed, or how old is he?
No, he's little. He eats like weaned mice. He's not that big yet.
Wow. So no Aru to that.
No. No chance.
Missed opportunity there, man.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if whatever gene's making high white Arus isn't the same bred to an Aru, breeding it to a different species as high white, I'm sure is not going to fucking result in the results you want.
Right. Just to confirm, that was a yellow Neo, or that you can tell, or you're not sure?
Yeah, it was a yellow Neo.
Okay. This is an Aru.
Yep.
Okay. And this is a female or male or a female, looks like. Right?
That one's a boy, I believe.
And one of your breeders?
Yeah, he's paired up with a girl right now.
So I mean, honestly, if I were to do my motivation to even consider doing pure arus is because the way this snake looks. Like this is my jam when it comes to arus. How many arus are you making that look like this? Is what I'm curious about.
That's an import, right?
What was that?
That's an import, right?
No, that's a baby I produced.
That is
cool.
Yeah, that clutch was probably the best high white aru clutch ever. From what I've seen, not to try to, I'm not trying to brag, just reality.
That's sweet.
There was 10 babies, I think, and 8 of them were pretty. There was like 5 that were really spectacular, 2 or 3 that were like above average, and there was only 2 that were. I mean, they would have been an average wild caught. So there's definitely. I'm pairing him with his sister to try to go one more generation. It'll be interesting to see if I can ratchet it up a notch.
And how are you telling? Like, I mean, can you tell at a yellow neonate stage, like when they're freshly out of the egg, if they're going to be high white or not? Like, are you able to tell? No. And around what year are you noticing, like, if they're going to go high white? Like, when are you seeing that kind of change?
Usually at. I think you can start seeing white as early as like 8 months. If they're going to be high white, usually 8-9 months, you're like, oh, okay, some white's coming in.
That white tends to come in more as they get older, though, right? I mean,
yeah, they. I found with the arus, and that's the one I have the most sample size. When the white usually starts coming in before the green, or right about the time the green comes in, but the white keeps coming in a little bit even after the final snake is green and before the blue. The blue on arus usually doesn't come in for a couple of years on the side. It typically is after the color change they get more blue. So usually I would say between a year and 18 months is when the majority of the white goes on. I think they can still gain white even as adults. It's probably pretty unnoticeable, but I've taken pictures of animals and then I take a picture of them like 4 years later and I'm like, they look like they're more white, and maybe it's just because they're bigger, so the white looks bigger. But I don't know if they ever stop. But
that's a good point. I think at some point the chondro just continues to change some sort of shade of whatever color it is with age, and that's why I feel like some of the older ones that people get their hands on have something that it just looks so unique. Like it's like, whoa, what is this? And a lot of it's because it has age on it, and that's why it has like either a unique shade of green or whatever happening with it, from what I've noticed.
Yeah, the aru color change is pretty funny. They a lot of times I've had really high melanistic ones that had a ton of black and white at the same time, and the black has always gone away by the time they were like 2 years old. But they start getting, usually they'll get like a green face, and then the white starts coming in, and the scales that turn white go from like, they're like yellow, then they kind of turn like this gray color, then they'll get like this overall red wash to it, and it slowly turns white. So it's pretty funny to see in Aru at the right time. You'll have this snake that's got black specks, white specks, a bunch of red. It looks really, not like red like a red chondro, but kind of a red wash down the spine. They're really all these little speckles. It's pretty funny to see, and it usually doesn't last too long. But.
Hey, Bill, I gotta take a leak. Take over. You got this.
Okay. I want to get back into Ryan. We had a conversation, and you were very serious that you think eventually in the wild that yellows, although they are not what you call normal type babies, right? They would be considered. They're not the wild type,
right?
Right. They're
what I mean. They are now, but historically they wouldn't have been.
Okay. So what is your theory? Why do you think that eventually there are going to be all yellows or more yellows than reds, or why do you think they have an advantage?
Well, I don't know that. I'm not sure if they have an advantage or not, other than it seems Mother Nature is giving you that answer. and that's one species has only yellow babies. So there clearly must be some sort of an advantage, or they would have retained the ability to make reds. All the other species, it's rare to find a red that's not het for yellow. So whatever it is that makes them, and I think it's just nature's way of cleaning it up. It's if you go back in time, green pythons weren't green. They're the only species of python that's green. So it's pretty easy to surmise that their ancestor would have been some kind of a brown, semi-arboreal python, and in their evolutionary trajectory to become a green snake on a stick, the ancestral color would have been a brown or red baby.
And they turn green because to survive in a tree, there would be something advantageous to be green.
I think what we're seeing right now is the tail end of that evolutionary process, where Mother Nature first had to turn the snake from brown to green, and now it's just trying to make a more biologically efficient method of going from the hatchling color to the adult color. And
so you think evolutionary, of course, this is just theory, that the brown snake was a red baby, right?
Yeah, I think it was probably, if you look at their closest relatives, you're talking about carpets, roughies, Cymalia complex snakes. Those are some of their closest relatives, and all of those snakes predominantly have gray or red babies. And so whatever led to the chondros turning green, that bright red baby was just a relic of its past. The yellow baby is its way of completing, that last evolutionary step to make it a more quick process of going from the baby color to the adult color.
So why wouldn't that yellow then be the new dominant form? In other words,
it is.
Why when you breed two red neo parents together, you can get yellows, but when you breed two yellow parents together, you can't get any reds. So
right, but the yellows are, okay, if you breed reds that aren't het, you can only make reds. If you breed yellows, they're all yellow.
Yeah.
You can't go the other way. So you're basically looking at a situation where once you get to all yellow, that's it. It's all yellow. It's done. Game over. You can't go back. The red, the reason, so that becomes dominant in essence. Like if we didn't know, if science hadn't come out and said, oh, the breedings we have, it shows that yellow appears to be a recessive mutation. If we could have fast forwarded millions of years when potentially red wouldn't even exist in the wild, we would have never known red ever existed because yellow would just be the dominant form.
Yeah, but I can play devil's advocate, and let's say we have the island of Aru, and I release one red baby, on the island of Aru.
Okay.
And it flourishes, and it breeds, with the natural yellow type. Well, all of a sudden you're going to get a clutch that has red and yellow babies, and then those. Okay, here come the reds,
Yeah, but you're assuming that it would be an advantage, and I think you can tell I think it's far more likely yellow is an advantage, or it wouldn't be as prevalent as it is. If red offered a huge advantage, then you would find populations that are all red, and you don't. Anywhere there's red, there's also yellow, but where there's many places where there's yellow and no red.
No red.
So if red was some great advantage, yellow would have never taken off.
Yeah, but red can still be the dropper full of red dye in a completely sterile bin of water.
Yeah, but hypothetically, a pulker, makes some crazy oceanic voyage and lands on Aru. For one, it has to survive the journey. Two, it has to breed with the local chondros, and then assuming I'll even go so far as to say it was a red that wasn't het. So every single baby that comes from this animal was red. the odds, the statistical probabilities that any of those animals even survive to adulthood, whether it's red or yellow, is probably so low that you would have never known that admixture event even happened.
Yeah, well, that may be the case if one red showed up on the island.
Yeah, well, it's like us in Neanderthal. Most of us have a pinch of them. So.
I just love the discussion. I think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting banter.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, it's just my personal belief that that's where it's headed. I think the evidence suggests that. I don't know. God only knows how many millions of years it would take to complete. Takeover, but if it ever even would, it might not. It might be one of those neutral mutations where it's just there's no benefit and there's no downside.
There may be parts of Indo or wherever that's exactly right.
I tend to not believe that, or yellow wouldn't be so prevalent, but it is. I mean, it's pretty rare to get a wild chondro that's red that isn't het for yellow. It happens, but it's pretty rare.
I got one. They're called super reds. I love that name.
No, they're not called.
They are, bro. That's what they're called. Why are you messing things up for me?
It's a super pastel ball python. Jesus Christ!
What's the problem with calling it super red? I'm confused. If that's what it does, if it makes everything red, that's what is considered a super in the ball python game, why can't we interact and just mingle and
because you're using it in the wrong way. You're basically implying that the red. Hey,
Marshall, whose team are you on right now? I'm so confused, dude. Like, can you relax a little bit? Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I think the only reason, I mean, the thing that I don't like about that term is that that term, broadly speaking, in the reptile game, means that is the super of a mutation, and in this case, that's not true. No. It's a snake that is not het for the actual mutation.
Can we call it red dominant?
Red dominant would be more accurate.
Okay, but the whole super thing is pissing you off, is what you're saying.
Well, I think it implies that red is the mutation, and that's not true.
Well, I think it's called super red because the fact that it can only throw red babies is super badass.
Listen, I don't. People probably got a little twisted the last couple of weeks. I don't necessarily prefer yellow or red. I like them both. I just don't know why more people don't seem to have the ability to appreciate both of them.
So you're down to go red to yellow, like within the same species, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best clutches to hatch is when you got both colors sitting there. I think that's got to be the most amazing thing ever. I can't even imagine how Switek felt hatching those eggs in the 70s. I mean, and having those, fucking red and yellow babies in the same clutch. They didn't even know that was possible back then. That had to be just, if I could go back in time watching that happen, that'd be pretty rad.
Now, you like that monocory I have a lot. Remember, the one I've posted, Ryan? I've had it for a while now. It's growing up, and you're like, oh, I got to send you a mail for that one.
Yeah.
And I denied it because I wasn't a designer. I'm just kidding. No. But for instance, that's a yellow neonate, and that's probably one of the snakes I get the most compliments on. People love that fucking snake, but that's a yellow neonate, right? In your world, when it comes to you producing more monocories, are you going for that look? And to go for that look, you have to go just yellow to get that look, or can reds give you that type of monocory as well?
No, reds don't look like that. No,
what's your preferred red or yellow monocory?
I would have to go specimen by specimen. Okay. If you showed me a yellow that wasn't, that the blue wasn't really popping, and then you showed me a red that the blue was really popping, I would have to go the red. If you showed me a red that was mostly green with very little, I mean, some of the reds end up where you can't even tell that they have any pattern at all, hardly.
Yeah.
And so if you compared that animal to, let's say that yellow animal that you guys posted earlier with all the white, I'm taking that thing in a heartbeat, So for me, it's not, the baby color is relatively irrelevant. What matters to me is what it looks like as an adult.
What is this? This is nasty right here, bro. God damn, I love this shit. This was a yellow or this was a red?
No, it's a yellow that just changed in like 2 weeks.
That's fucking sick right there.
That's a polker. His blue hasn't even come in, or she, whatever it is. He doesn't. He looks really funny right now.
Is that like a unique green though for you, or do you see that a lot?
I haven't seen a ton change as fast as this one, considering none of his siblings. I mean, a couple of his siblings are just now starting to get a titch of green on them. He just went fucking green real quick.
Yeah, but that's a different type of green, man. I'm telling you. I mean, that's like a
but that's what it looks like right now. I mean, what's it going to look like in a year? It'll probably just be a nice dark, green snake with a blue stripe, hopefully.
And obviously depending on the sex, but you would want to put another yellow or red to this one.
Depending on what I was going for.
What would you want to go for with this one? I guess it depends what it looks like.
It's too soon to tell. Yeah, you don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I got to see how it turns out. I'm going to try to, I got a lot of red manicoris. I don't have a problem with them. But I'm going to do a high white project, and that's going to be probably the majority of those will be yellow. The yellow seems to be more consistent producing the white.
So you're confirmed producing more yellows than reds, though, on a yearly basis.
In polker, I've probably produced more reds.
But in general, like let's say, if you could gather them like on an average, all the neos that you produce every year, are they majority yellow or are they red?
It's probably pretty even. If you looked at the whole history of me breeding chondros, then I've probably produced a lot more yellows than reds.
Now, because at the end of the day, Ryan, you do sell these snakes, right? I mean, you can't just keep everything back, right? So there are availability at some point when it comes to these snakes. And you knowing that reds are more popular, are you at least shooting to maybe make more reds because you feel like they could sell no problem, or do you not give two shits about what's popular as far as
I kind of get I would say 2 or 3 times a week I get contacted, people wanting to buy manicoris, and of course every one of them wants to buy a red one, and that kind of chaps my ass. So
but do you say anything about it? Like do you ever say give him some little bit of Ryan Young heat back? Or
I don't know. I had somebody contact me a little while ago, and they said, "What do I got to do to get one of your red manicoris?" And I wanted to respond with, "I got to look at your collection, and if you have mutts, you can't have it."
Damn.
It wasn't me. I promise, Ryan. That wasn't me coming under some pseudo name.
Poor Alex.
No.
Poor Alex.
It's funny. It is what it is. I've come to accept it, and I'm probably going to lean into it. I'd like to breed. I'd like to get to the point where I just have, red dominant manicoris too. But I won't do that at the expense. I'll still have yellows. I'll be doing a yellow project, but it would be interesting to breed the yellow out.
Yep. I mean, it would be.
Got to give the people what they want, I guess.
Well, speaking of giving people what they want, what's your production like this year? How many females do you have paired up, and what are you shooting for?
I got I think 4 pairs going.
4 pairs.
And what are they? What are the 4 pairs?
2 Arus and 2 Uterenzas. So I got Cyclops, 2 pairs of Cyclops, and 2 pairs of Arus.
Now I know I'm asking you this, Bill, because I feel like, do you ever feel like with one of your craziest holdbacks that you have raising up would be worthy to go with a crazy pure looking locality? Like, is there any pure localities worth you even putting in your collection at this point, Bill, or does that not just make sense or add up to you because all the other holdbacks that you have?
I think I think locality designers crossed into localities are a mainstay of a lot of the designer programs. I think they're how the vast majority of a lot of designers are produced every year. But if you're asking me if I could have some crazy ass, John Irby blue line animal, or if I could have the nicest manicori on the planet, I'd take John's animal.
But what I'm saying is, like, let's just say you could get one of Ryan Young's nicest fucking pure localities and put him to something that you fucking have that's like on the level of John Irby. Like, I'm just saying respectfully, like something that is your biggest holdback. Like, would you ever consider bringing something like that in to what you have going on already? Like, and having that pure go to something crazy that you own.
Well, other than ruining mine and Ryan's friendship.
I understand that you're beyond help at this point.
I'm I'm just reaching for straws here, man.
Listen, that's, I know the majority of the snakes I sell are, they're not going to go do what I would do with them. And, it just is, it's the reality of the situation.
You never know, man. Things go in cycles, right? And pretty soon, if God forbid, if Indo shut down, or who knows, localities will come back around. I feel like they're already coming back.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely been gains since the early 2000s, but it's pretty rare that I think humans get bored pretty easy is the problem, and I think it's just the natural progression of things. People might start off thinking one thing, and then they get caught up from peer pressure and do the other thing.
Well, I think I think there's a lot of peer pressure. At least if you look in other Morelia, like the carpet world, there's big peer pressure to not.
Well, I think that's because they know more than anybody else. They only got a certain amount of stuff. There's nothing coming in, or very rarely.
Carpets.
If you're talking carpets, diamonds, breadline, that kind of thing, they got what they got, and if they all mud it up, then you're not going to have any of that. I mean, even like jungle carpets, there was, if you knew the right people and you go back into the 90s, there was several very distinct, different bloodlines of jungle carpets that no longer exist today. It's the jungle carpet bloodlines in this country from the early 90s, American-wise anyways, they're just one amalgamation of whatever that founding stuff was. So nobody, we've dropped the ball. We've got a proven track record of doing this.
Damn.
I have 2 jungle carpets that were born in 93, and they're the last pure of what they are. And, they're.
And what line are those called?
They don't really have a name. They're just a pretty obscure thing. So I'll leave people's names out of it just for the sake of their knowing who did what. So just interesting snakes, and their bloodline is, the blood is in a lot of the other jungles, but as far as the pure founder stock of what they are, they're probably it. And they're long in the tooth and probably won't be alive much longer.
So back to yellow neonates. Do you believe in wait lists? Do you do wait lists at all?
No, I don't, because I keep things too long, and I don't have to sell them, and so I'm never in a hurry to sell them.
So your rule of thumb to selling a neo is what? Like especially if okay, I'm not going to want to keep this one. When is it clear for you to post it for sale?
I usually don't sell anything till it changes color and I can sex it.
So you don't even sell neos?
No.
Wow, you're on that Marshall Mendez fucking program. That's what he does.
I tell you, a couple years ago, I hatched some maniquaries, and I had a yellow baby that was like, this fucking thing just ate, was phenomenal. And so it had eaten like 15, 16 times, and I sold it to somebody and they killed it. And I was just like, man, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather sell them bigger.
I would only think, and I know patience is everything and it's a lot easier said than done, but man, if you're really working with some cool shit, it's almost in your best interest to hold on to that to see what direction it goes. But also too, like there's a chance where it could go something very simple. And Bill, like you've definitely let some hits go, huh, Bill? Like there's some gems that you wish you could probably get back if you can, or
oh God, yes. But for me, that's part of the fun.
And you're happy with seeing it where it's at, you know what I mean? For that
absolutely, part. I'm happy for the person, and it lets I think some people out there think that people that produce designer animals have some secret formula, and They hold back all the good ones, you know.
Right.
But so I like to show people that's not the case. I've turned out to be a notoriously horrible holdback picker.
Notorious for it.
Notorious.
Yeah, if I got to where I wanted to get with the projects, then I would probably start selling Neos, and then I wouldn't care if they got the most phenomenal animal.
To be completely honest, and that's exactly like me. You know, after Jaeger and Biscuit have had 3 clutches, I'm done with that pair with that particular genetics. You know, so I release them all, and I know there's going to be some.
You don't keep any.
None, 0.
What?
And I know there's going to be some killer animals in there, and I'm so happy for the people when they get them.
Yeah, I'm basically just trying to. I've got the different species. I've got wild founders, multiple bloodlines for most of them, other than Azuria, and I'm just trying to build a captive bred colony that's entirely produced animals. Predominantly produced by me, and just after I get to that point and I'm satisfied with my groups, then I'll probably start selling Neos.
I'm curious, Marshall, you're going into a season here where you could be pretty rocking with the chondros. You're still gonna hold on to these Neos, you would think, whatever Neos that you are lucky to hit this year, you're still gonna not sell them right away, I'm assuming, or what's your game plan with whatever Neos that you might want to sell or whatever?
I mean, right now it's looking like, the only thing, unless I get some late season pairings going, I'm going to have, I've got 15, 16 eggs. So,
okay.
If I had 30 or 40, that'd be a different story.
Right.
But, I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 2-year-old animals that are, it's looking like I've got out of at least half of them are going to be males. So, I may sell some older, 2-year-olds,
right?
Just because I don't need 4 males from this clutch. So,
yeah,
but yeah, no. As far as babies go, if I only have 15 or 16 neonates, I'll keep them all.
And Bill, remind me your cut date as far as pairing is when do you stop pairing during the time of the year?
Usually April. I'll continue to pair up through April.
And for you, Ryan?
I guess I don't stop if there's nothing. If there's not a reason to stop. If I have a reason to think something might keep going, then I'll keep trying.
So you'll have girls that could potentially show you signs that they're going later on in the year, and if you see that, you're going to pair, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Your males are going to tell you if something's going on.
And tell me more about that. Like, what do you mean?
Oh, I mean, if your males are usually pretty lazy, and then all of a sudden they're just pacing like crazy, somebody's doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, what if one male's pacing crazy, but the other fucking male's not doing a goddamn thing? God, that's so annoying.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually I can tell based if you go in at night and see their typical behavior, and then usually you'll notice the female gets a little bit more ravenous than normal. I mean, they're pretty good at tricking us, sticking their tail out, wiggling at us, trying to get them to feed them.
Right.
But, when you start walking in there and a female's, slamming against the glass, trying to eat, and the males start going berserk, then it's pretty safe to assume she wants to do something, and give her some food and throw them in there.
Yeah. Now, and I've talked to Patrick about, like, he's told me that with his experience, he's had males that are kind of seasonal. Like he's had males that do work and then will just fucking stop. And sometimes it'll be months before they do anything. Do you have anything like that happening with your pairings? Like, do you have a male that does work at a certain time of the year and then just stops?
No, I mean, I would say usually if the female's willing, the male's willing. So it's pretty rare that I've had males that I didn't think were good breeders, and it's again, it's back to the blame the male, but it was probably just the female wasn't cycling. And
yeah, but people, I don't mean to cut you off, Ryan, but I know there's been people here in this podcast that have swapped males, and the male went fucking straight to town on that female. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, well, that could be the case. I'm usually not doing a multiple male situation, so I guess my Uterensis, I had one male that didn't seem to want to do anything. So I guess that's, the other male bred both females. He bred the one that the other male was with a female, and he didn't show any interest in her, and the other male did breed her, but it was pretty reluctant. He didn't seem to be like as into it as he was with the other female.
Yeah. It's
So, I mean, some males will quote unquote sport fuck, but I think usually if the female's doing something, the male's willing. But I guess
all this male talk is what, Bill? What's that word that you say? Anna, what?
Anecdotal.
Yeah.
In that case, could that make sense right now? What we're talking about? Because there's no actual proof to tell why a male stops breeding, right? We don't really know why a male would go from breeding to now I don't want to do anything with nothing, no matter who you pair me with.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a million things that we don't have any idea about their psychological makeup.
And, and I don't mean to jump species and piss Bill off, but even with the tree monitors, right? I've had success with my one pair of tree monitors. But then now I've noticed we're about that time of year where she's laid and she's not laying. Nothing's happening. And now they're almost complacent. I feel like I need to pull the male because they're just having a good fucking time. They're just lounging and eating and not doing shit. And I talked to Brian Susan, and he's like, well, what do you expect? You only have one pair and not really much happening with it can happen like that easily, So when you have numbers behind you, or if you still swap things, you're better off that way versus just fucking hoping that one thing could happen,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we don't know. There could be a situation where that male might breed a different female, but for whatever reason, that female, even if she's cycling, she might not like him for some reason, and not, there's things we don't know how they communicate with each other. I would imagine sexual selection is still a thing with snakes.
Right. So compatibility is a thing. We could all agree on that.
I think
I mean, I've had emerald tree boas where I've got I basically have one breeder male, and he doesn't seem to breed one of the females like he does the other one. Like, he'll lock up with one for, a whole day, perfect lock. The other female, it's like they don't seem to, he'll be half on other side of the cage and they're tentatively locked up. It doesn't seem to be the same situation.
Is there one thicker than the other? I don't know. Some guys like thicker women. I'm just
saying.
The
big girl's the one he doesn't like as much.
Oh, so well, then it's the other way around. That's a Bill thing. Bill don't like them thick at all.
Stop that.
He did finally. He did produce with both of them, but
I meant inquiries. I meant MORPH market inquiries. You just
tire kickers. Oh, strictly tire kickers.
Yeah, but that's ball pythons. That's completely separate species.
Oh, it's differentiate between ball python tire kickers and.
What are you talking? It's the same breed of paper. If you're selling nut chondros, it's basically selling to ball python people. They're not true green tree python keepers.
We like to rate things based off the retail sell, okay, Brian? Or Brian, that's just how we do things.
Is it expensive because it's cool, or cool because it's expensive?
It's expensive because it's Trap Talk. No, it's expensive because they've been expensive. I mean, come on. We've talked about how far back Neos have been, $8,000-9,000, right, Marshall? Like, even back in the day, they were going for like this price, weren't they?
I don't know about that. Not back in the day. I mean, like when I bought, I bought a sibling to Calico Jr. from Greg Maxwell, and that was the first one of the first maybe the first Calico clutch. If it was a sibling to, I think I paid under $1,000. I mean, the most I've ever paid for a baby was by the time Greg kind of got out of, was selling his business or whatever. He had done the Calico Daydream, and at that point, those were $5,000 a piece. And I'm pretty sure that's the most I ever paid.
What year was this when they were $5,000 a piece?
I don't remember exactly. 05-ish, maybe 06.
So that's like $20,000 nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, but they didn't start off that way.
Yeah.
I mean, all the stuff that I bought from Eugene early on, it wasn't like a named bloodline or anything. But they were, he had babies ranging from 500 to definitely under 1,000. You know, and I remember going to his place, and he had a you know, an island in his room, like a island countertop, and he just had, you know, I'm going to say 100 plastic shoe boxes with babies on there, just, you know, room temperature. And I just, you know, went there, and I think I spent $2,000 and picked out 4 babies. You know, just reds were the same, you know, reds, yellows. It wasn't like it is today. As far as the pricing, and reds being, you know, the reds weren't drastically more expensive like they are now.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. Do you think Mark is onto something as far as yellows could possibly catch up to reds in a sense of evening out the price at some point?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
And Bill, you know, there's no catching the red, right, Bill, in your world?
I don't know. It's just, you know, it seems like in designers, the reds just have a 30-year head start.
I just don't see the best yellow that you could show me the best yellow on earth that's ever been produced and put it against a black red Neo. The black red Neo is going to smash the shit out of that yellow fucking Neo all day. I just feel like this is my opinion. I'm sorry. I love you, Ryan, but
shameful.
If you were to take a vote within the Chondro world, that's they're all going to vote that as well. They're not
supposed to say I love you, Ryan and Mark.
Shameful. Ugh, you guys don't want green snakes, man. I don't get it. You're fucking...
Yeah, it's not even the fact that the babies look cooler. It's just the fact that because I mean, a yellow baby is cool looking, no doubt about it. It's just, but like, what is it going to turn into? Like, you know, the red has a much higher probability of turning into what I want. Maybe not what Ryan wants, but what I want, what Bill likes, than a yellow. And you know, they have, can yellows ever get there? Maybe, but I mean, we'll all be long dead by that time, considering that reds have they have a 30-year head start. That's a long time to make up. That's a lot of breedings. It's a lot of generations to before a yellow could even get to the same level that a red is today, you know?
Yeah. Now, Ryan, do you ever you do vend at shows, right?
Yeah.
And you take chondros to shows if you ever have any available, or you've never taken chondros to a show?
No, I used to sell them at shows for $300, man.
And this, how far back was this?
Oh, probably 2003, 4, 5, 6.
Damn. But nowadays, that's not really the case. You don't take chondros to the show, do you, or what do you do now?
I sold 2 shows ago. I sold a female Aru because I had more females than I wanted from that bloodline.
Right.
And then I sold. I brought a Num4 baby, but nobody bought it.
And Bill, I'm pretty sure you've answered this on the live before, but you would never display a table at a show full of chondros of your holdbacks or something someday, would you?
I don't think so. I wouldn't be able to. And it's so funny, you know, I remember one of the very first couple episodes of GTP Keeper Radio I did when I had just gotten my first chondro. You know, I was asking Buddy, I was like, man, this is bullshit to go to these shows and only see wild caught, you know, green trees. You know, what's the deal, you know? And then when the shoe's on the other foot, so to speak, and I have the ability to do it, but there is no really good, compelling reason for me to do it. I mean, it's nothing but risk for me to do it. And I'm happy to have people into my facility. You know, that MJ Marshall, Ryan, all know it.
Man, that's what watching those people rifle through your stuff is my worst fucking nightmare, man.
See, it doesn't bother me as long as it's you know, I'm happy to have people, you know, in. To me, that's less risk than bringing them and displaying at a giant expo that I have much less control of, and environmental control specifically, and then transport control and all that kind of stuff. So it just
it was brutal watching people rifle through your shit, man. I was like,
I never thought of it because Bill, I mean, you don't think of it. You're like in goddamn you're in a different world when you go to Bill's place, and you're just kind of following his lead, and it's just kind of like there's nothing to fear here. You are safe. Like this is, and I just love, that's what I love about Bill's. But Bill, your room does get packed, and it does get cracking for sure. But I don't know. I don't really see any people with mites or anything potentially.
What, bringing them in? You know, I mean, no. I mean, I think, I don't have a big. I don't have a concern, and you know, knock on wood, I've been doing it for quite a while now. I haven't had an issue. As long as hand sanitizers involved, and you know, I try to keep you know, people with an even flow of once you go into this room, you go into that room, and then you come into this room, and I try to get, you know, not a lot of back and forth between rooms. Everybody understands that. I've got at least 2 people that are in there herding the cats with me, so to speak. So, you know, I feel better about that, to your original question, MJ, than to be bringing a bunch of my holdback animals and displaying them at an expo, especially an out-of-town expo. Are you kidding me? Putting them on a plane or driving them 2 days worth to get someplace? I'd never do.
How many shows do you guys think Rico did like that?
A bunch.
A bunch?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I did probably 6 or 7 with him, Daytonas and Tinleys together.
And even you, Marshall, would you steer away from doing a show where you're just tabling nothing but your holdbacks?
Nothing but holdbacks. Yeah, I don't know that I would. There's just, like Bill said, there's no incentive to do it. I wouldn't necessarily be worried about it. I think the animals can take. I mean, yes, there is risk.
Yeah, why do you keep saying the holdbacks? Why?
Yeah, well, because like I don't mean holdbacks. I apologize, but like I just know that Rico.
Yeah, no, like if I had animals for sale, I wouldn't have any more. If I had animals for sale that I needed to sell, that I couldn't sell online, I would have no qualms with bringing them to a show.
Didn't Rico display snakes that he didn't sell though? Like it was just mainly for display. Like didn't he show off a bunch of shit from what I heard?
I don't know. I mean, what most people did is just put a ridiculous price on it. It would be for sale, but it would be, you know, like when Trooper brought his albino to Daytona one year, he put $100,000 on it. You know, I brought a couple Neos. I forget if it was the Tinley or Daytona or both, and I put $8 or $9 grand. Ended up freaking selling them. I didn't want to, but had them on the table and put a price on there that I didn't think, you know, anybody would pay, and I ended up selling them. So you just never know. But I mean, again, there's ball pythons that are worth just as much or more than some of these chondros. Granted, they're not as delicate, but I haven't heard of there's you seldom hear that, like, you know, Canova, somebody ripped off his, you know, whatever snake that he's unveiling. Like, yes, it's possible. It doesn't happen to me. The risk is more in the transport, and the getting there. You know, you're putting them in your car. You're driving. Depends where you're going too. You know, out of town. For me, Tinley or Daytona is basically a full day drive one way. And if you're putting them in a incubator in your car, or, you know, you're just trying to keep, you know, whatever, you got them in a shipping box, you don't have as tight a control. So yes, there is the opportunity for bad things to happen. As a matter of fact, one time when Rico was, I forget what show it was, we were coming back from Daytona or Tinley, and he had a big, like, igloo, you know, 120 quart cooler, and the heater, like the thermostat, he closed the thing and with the probe outside the cooler, and cooked a shitload of snakes.
Wow.
So yeah. So I mean, that it's definitely a risk.
And right, and I think about how many things. Not saying that happened a lot, but things like that fucking happen if you vend a lot. Like you're just prone to fuck up here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
And one.
I was just to say, Marshall hit the nail on the head when he said, if I had a rack full of green trees that I couldn't sell online, then I would I would not be hesitant to bring them to an expo. But the just really the reality of it is for a lot of green tree breeders, that's just not the case. And even the great Canova has to vend expos to sell snakes.
Yeah. Well, no, whoa. I don't think he would agree to that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would agree with that.
Justin, I'll tell you right now, Justin does not need to sell a snake at a show at all whatsoever.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, half of his table at a show is not for sale, or a large portion of it.
20, 30, 40 snakes.
but he feels like he needs to have a table presence at shows.
Right,
maybe that'd be a better way.
And I feel like you should too, in a sense, other than you have to go against that risk as well, which it makes sense why you wouldn't. But for somebody who represents chondros the way you do, it would make total sense for you to be there the way Justin's there. And I don't say you need to, Bill, but it's the same sense why he does it. He does it because he likes it for the people. He fucks with the people who fuck with him. And it would be, you would love that as well if we were in a perfect world and there was no risk of anything. You would, let's be honest, Bill, if there was no risk or no Nido, no nothing, we're in a perfect world, you would for sure do it then, right?
I can't honestly say that because I enjoy hanging out with you and Marshall,
That's true.
Gary and Ryan so much.
That is so true. I love vending, but you can't fucking go fuck off. And I love fucking off.
I love fucking off. I'm a fuck off.
Wow, fucking Bruce is gonna clip that. Good job, buddy. I'm just kidding. Dude, it makes a lot of sense. And it does just I don't know. I try to just have fun. And I know some things you do got to grind and hustle for. And I guess we're in a blessed place. We have the internet. We have other places where we can sell stuff that we have available. You don't have to vend. But I do know, man, vending does keep the reptile community together in a sense. And I would like to someday personally, if I ever got to that level of you guys, I would love to have a table full of fucking chondros and just tell everyone they're not for sale. That would be a dream of mine someday. It really would. I really would. And of course I'll do I'd probably put that Ask Levance type thing on the fucking, like where, ask MJ, type of thing. And yeah, throw me a fucking few thousand. We'll talk, that type
MJ, you just want to be able to put $100,000 or whatever Trooper put on that.
Most expensive mutt in the reptile game is what I want to put and fucking take pictures of it and have Ryan buy it for me. That's the biggest thing.
I wouldn't rub two nickels together to buy a fucking mutt.
Never say never, bro. Come on. You never know.
No, man, I did a little bit of that back in the day, and that's
did a little what?
I didn't. The first chondros I bred, they weren't pure.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So you're not perfect.
No, not perfect.
It comes. I thought from the gun, like you were like, fuck that shit. I'm not mixing. So you did fucking dabble in the beginning.
Yeah, I bought the first male chondro I could get my hands on after having a female, and it wasn't pure.
It was a mutt.
Yep.
What was it?
It was some Peter Call blue line fucking thing.
Why couldn't it just be some Peter Call blue line thing? Why does that have to be a fucking thing like that? That you should give some respect to something like that you got to work with. Like, come on, bro.
Well, I mean, he was cool. I loved the snake, but I just, I bred him to my sarong female, and I just, I ended up getting a sarong male to go with her, and that was that.
You made designer outcrosses.
I guess.
You cut your teeth on designer outcrosses.
Yep, but if you look on my species bred list, that year never happened.
Now that I'm thinking about it, didn't I get a Biak Wamina cross from you?
Oh,
yep.
Here we go.
I forgot about it. How did I forget about that?
Wow, it all comes together.
That honestly, that clutch was what made me hate it the most because that was the easiest clutch of chondros I ever sold, and I fucking hated it, and so I never did it again.
So you hated an easy clutch? I don't understand that. What do you mean? They all ate for you, so you hate them?
No. The people wanted them so badly. I thought it was so disgusting that I fucking never did it again.
Dude, you're different, Ryan.
He's a different cat.
And to my credit, back then that was just Azuria, and those were both in the north, so I thought it was the same thing.
So you sold the animal?
Don't try to rationalize it now.
That is bullshit.
Yeah, bro, you're backpedaling, bro. You're trying to Michael Jackson this shit.
Yeah, big time. You knew what you were doing. You could tell. You just said 99 out of 100. 99 out of 100. You could tell.
Well, that was, ignorance was bliss.
There's an agenda behind this shit, bro. Because why all of a sudden is he coming clean about what he used to do back in the day, supposedly? How far back in the day are we talking? We talking like 2018, or what are we talking here?
No, that snake was, I don't know when that was.
I'm talking about when was Ryan dabbling with the designers back in the day?
I wouldn't call it dabbling with designers.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what it is. What do you mean, dude?
Man.
You can't.
It's more like a cockroach out in the kitchen cupboard. Not really.
Making mutts, churning out mutts over there.
Cranking them out.
Yeah. Old puppy mill owner.
Polluting the gene pool.
Two clutches in my life. I'm sorry, man. Out of the 40-something clutches I've had, 2 of them were fuck-ups. So give me some credit.
That we know of.
Okay, no, so legit, after you sold that clutch, you got rid of the parents? Like you parted with them, or what'd you do with them?
Well, my original sarong female was the first chondro I ever had. I had her for, a long time. The male, I just kept him as a pet. He was my second chondro, so I just kept him around. And then I don't even remember what happened to those. The Bioc female that made those mutts.
Shout out to Jaffe, one of my favorite Canadians in the building.
Jaffe.
Say out his super chat real quick. Jaffe has to say, Marshall, when is that het albino clutch due? Would be cool to showcase that clutch on a future Tuesday episode. Full clutch of albinos, Marshall. See how positive? Hey, Marshall, do you see how positive it is?
I know.
Like, yeah,
I know. I'm getting nauseous. I almost ralphed.
The last time Jaffe commented, he was like, "Oh man, I hope you get 25% albinos." I was like, "What? 25%? Like, come on, man! You got to do me better than that." They're due on 3/20, so another 3.5 weeks or so. Maybe 4 weeks.
How many eggs are in that clutch?
I think I've got maybe like, I have to look. I think I have like 9 or 8 from that one, nine from that one and 6 from the other. I mean, they were laid a day apart, so they're both basically due at the same time.
And it was head to head or head to pos head? What was head
to head.
Not to rain on Marshall's albino parade, but the quote of the night comes from Dallas: "Molecular reptiles."
Where do you see that? Oh, there it is.
In the chat.
I'll never live it down.
Oh,
we need that. We need that on a. We need that on a shirt with this fool holding nothing but red neos in his hand.
Hey, to my credit, those Womaniacs were fucking lit, man. Everybody who got
they were awesome.
There were some really badass ones in there.
I love it.
Now, for sure, Marshall. Like, if you hit any albinos, I mean, you would let the record know you wouldn't be letting any of those go, right?
I would have to have a few. I'm not going to say never. Everything's money talks. How about that?
That's my boy right there. There's my boy.
I couldn't take the money fast enough.
Hey, but is that like that with you though, Ryan? At the end of the day, everything is for sale if it comes down to it, or no? No, that's cool.
No. I got too many things I got to see through. So,
wow. What
isn't everything?
What is the next thing for you to see through at this point? Like, what's the biggest thing for you, Ryan?
I haven't hatched Uterensis since like 2005, so that'd be pretty cool. Do that again.
Can you remind me what Uterensis is?
Yeah, me too.
Cyclops, Jayapura, Bokandini, Lyra, that stuff.
Could have just said Cyclops, but all right. So wait, so you're looking to do that this year then?
Yeah, I got 2 girls that could potentially go.
Wow. And that's going to be your first time doing pure Cyclops?
No, I've done it like 3 times, but it was in the mid-2000s, so it's been a while.
Can you still get is like Bushmaster or whoever's farming them these days? Can you still get Cyclops?
I have no idea. I never buy the farm ones.
When have any of you guys seen like legit locality stuff available? Imported, farm bred, whatever you want to call it. Are you seeing this stuff?
I mean, I don't really ever look for it, but I think it's out there,
well,
right?
I used to see it. I never looked for it either, but I used to see it all the time. And now
It's out there. It just doesn't come in as much, nearly as much as it was. And when it does come in, it's sporadic and it's gone quick, like really quick.
It trickles in. I keep a close eye on it because there's some things I'd still like to add. So.
But there's people right there at their forefront who are getting their hands on it before it even touches like a show or anything like that. Like there's motherfuckers right there who are grubbing them immediately.
Would you say though that compared to 10 years ago, less stuff is coming in, Ryan?
Yeah, after when COVID, that seemed to really it was a combination of when Vladimir passed away and then COVID pretty well. I don't think there's hardly any legit farm bred shit anymore.
Yeah.
Now, respect to Rico, rest in peace, but Vladimir, another guy that I've heard his name quite a bit. And I know he's done some crazy things. Well, what's your relationship to him at all, Ryan? Have you ever like associated with him, or were you friends, or what?
No, I think I'm trying to think. I probably emailed with him. Maybe I think we had one conversation, maybe 10, replies back and forth. It was very. I think we were talking about Kofi House or something back in the day.
What was he known for?
I don't think very many Americans really knew him. I think, guys that were into that stuff, but he just bred a lot of, the farm stuff in India.
He was good at it, right?
Yeah, he was, from the outside looking in, you could probably make the case he might have been the GOAT, the best, chondro breeder there ever was. Maybe
to produce the most, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, he had kind of an unfair advantage having him right in his freaking backyard, right?
Right.
Well, I think that can be an advantage or not. It might actually be harder to control the variables. It's hard to say.
I forgot who was talking about when they went to visit there at a certain time where like the way they incubate stuff is just like in rooms, normal rooms. They don't even have incubators over there.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think you could argue there'd be a lot of challenges especially for guys like us used to doing it in cages. It would probably be. We'd probably have a steep learning curve trying to figure out how they do it over there.
Yeah. And remind me, like it was Marshall, wasn't it Ryan that gave you the tip to put them in the rack, that your current clutches that you had, right?
Yeah.
And Ryan, you've been going that method for how long? How long have you been taking the female around?
A couple of years.
At what point do you take them and put them in that rack? Remind me.
Usually after the prelay shed.
Right after the shed. And then you put them in the rack, you put a water dish in there, and you're not worried about them laying in the water dish.
If they were cruising a lot, then I would probably pull it before I thought she was due. But typically, you put that moss in the back and a little piece of paper over the top of that moss, and that snake goes and sits there and doesn't move.
Okay. And
that was my experience. Once they settled in and kind of found the hot spot, I checked on them twice a day, and they never moved.
They both beehive pretty well for you, right, Marshall?
One of them was a little better than the other, but I mean, the one that had her last clutch was basically dropped off the perch, scattered. She half-assed beehived them.
And you're
I don't know.
No, go ahead, Marshall.
Just gonna tell Ryan I've managed to breed all the maternal instincts out of them by
well, I even some of the wild ones. I have a wild one, man. She fucking glued an egg to the side of the cage. I think I shared that picture with you guys in the chat.
Saw that, yeah.
She was a dumper, and then she laid her first two clutches just all over the place. And so the first time I put her in a tub, she wrapped them up. I think it's hard. I think chondros in the wild, I think they do things differently to go find a place to nest. And I don't know that we do a great job at replicating that. in captivity. So I think they can be scatterers. And I just basically took Gary, Gary Shavino. He was the one. He started doing putting all the moss and the round hide in the bottom of the mother's cage. And I basically just took his idea and was like, well, it would be a whole lot easier, for taking photographs, pulling the eggs and stuff, to just take the female out. And I don't use big radiant heat panels. So if my female wants to go sit on the ground, there's no heat anywhere around her. And so I just said, the easiest thing to do is just stick her in a rack. And the eggs are a lot better conditioned. They seem like they're further developed than in the other situation that I had them in. So I'll keep
John Irby was telling us that he doesn't do the moss, he doesn't do the mulch paper. He just puts them in a bare plastic empty tub.
I had Maru female that wouldn't nest. Like if you put a 2-gallon bucket with just a hole in the lid, she would go lay in there. If you stuck moss in there, she'd leave.
Yeah, some don't like that. It's weird.
So,
and some people just make it work with just bare bones, like just the puppy pad or whatever, and a fucking water dish. What's his name? Shout out to Garrick from House of Blue. He just does a freaking a towel, like it's like a washcloth or something, as well. He puts down in his plastic nest box.
That's what I use. Washcloths.
Yeah, the thing I don't like about bare plastic would be is if she,
sticks
if
to
there
it.
was extra goo or crap or anything, that the egg would, get too much of that. And go
Ryan,
bad.
remember the episode you listened to when I was kind of like panicking, how like, oh man, one of the eggs rolled, and I'm pretty sure that's what killed it. And you're like, nah. You're like, dude, I've had that happen. That wasn't the case. And to back that up, man, what's crazy, I've been recently coming up on these Rico videos, these old videos of Rico, and they're not even like titled with his name in it. He's just like there talking. And I saw this one where he was showing how he pulled the clutch. Oh my God, bro, like 10 eggs rolled. Like he just pulled them, and then you just see eggs go. And he's like, yeah, you don't really want this to happen. But like,
I was pulling that num4 clutch last year. I was pulling the eggs apart and marking them embryo up. And I was being so gentle, I fucking dropped an egg and headed to the floor, and I used my foot to
stop it.
To try to hacky sack it, and it bounced off my foot, rolled fucking 5 feet into the corner of my incubator. I'm moving shit, digging to the back. God. I'm kicking all the spider webs and dust off of it, and put it in there, and it hatched. I dropped that thing 5 feet and kicked it.
Dude. And that just goes to show you, like, man, if these fucking eggs are meant to make it, they're gonna make it. Like, they're not as kind of like, oh my God, delicate as we take it for they are, I mean, it just comes down to, are the eggs good or not, so yeah. I'm glad
I think it, it just depends on how good the egg is and
how lucky you are.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
Maybe if it would have just hit the floor like full bore, maybe that would have been enough. I don't know. But maybe kind of cushioning it with my foot saved it. I don't know.
Now,
it's like when you drop your phone, you drop your phone and you
try to save it.
You try to kick it. Yeah. It just kind of breaks the impact a little bit.
Yeah, that's all I did.
You'll drop the egg trying to be too gentle with it. I did that last year. Like, I was like trying not to squeeze it, and I dropped it doing that.
That's what I did.
I was like, fuck, and I was like, man, like, oh, what a fucking mess, man. But Ryan, I have to ask you, last year, how did establishing go? Did you have any issues, or did you have a good ratio of neonates that went the distance as far as eating and no prolapses, all that stuff?
I did lose 2 to prolapse. 2 of the num4s I lost to prolapse. But otherwise, I was expecting, I've only hatched Azuria 1 time in the past. And they were real easy. And I was expecting the num4s to be easy, and they were way more challenging than the Manaquares. But I think I force fed one of them 3 times, then started eating.
Right on.
Or assist fed, I guess, is the term everybody likes to use now.
and assist fed is something that's a super last resort thing for you, and you don't do it for too long, from what I understand, right? Like you don't.
No, I don't. I don't do it. Typically, I'm pretty good at getting them going. And I don't start like I see these people start trying to feed babies like the second they shed and stuff, and I usually don't even bother to try for 2-3 weeks after they shed. I'd rather like 8 out of 10 start the first time than get 2 and get frustrated, and so I just
I feel like it's easy to put a neonate in a stage of like fuck off, I don't want nothing to do with anything, like if the timing's not right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's I've hatched a few, so I'm not as freaked out about it as
right. That's true.
It's I don't know. I'm trying to think back to my first clutch. I was probably panicky, and I don't think I ever force fed any of them, but I was probably like a dog shit in a peach pit waiting for them to eat. So.
Let's got a wrap up question together here, and I'll go first, and then whoever wants to go next can go next. But I'm curious, was there ever a time and place where you dabbled with feeding your neonates, your stubborn neonates, some sort of a lizard species like a gecko or?
That was going to be my question, MJ.
Gotta be quicker. Gotta be quicker than that, Bill.
Next time I go first.
Yeah. But seriously, have you ever gone that route, and have you stuck to it, or what's going on with that?
The closest I've come to doing that is I'll go field herping a western skink, and I'll pop its tail off and let the skink go, and then take that tail home and put it in the freezer, and you can rub it on a pinky, and that'll work sometimes.
And are you putting the pinky in hot water before you do any of that? Like, are you like a hot water type of guy when you offer?
If I'm real serious about it, and I think the baby's a real pain in the ass, I'll wash that pinky with that hunting soap, that scent removing soap.
Okay.
And then I'll take a razor blade and shave off a tiny bit of that skink meat and stick it in the pinky's mouth.
Oh wow, you skink meat it.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Well, that's one way of doing it.
But I found, with the chondros, I think it might have made a difference for a couple babies, but Aunt Teresa babies works great.
Wow, right on. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go. So I'm going to stray a little bit from the chondros, but you have produced more different species than pretty much anybody that I know. Certainly anybody that I'm close with. What is your? I mean, I'm assuming at this point you're not breeding retics and berms for the. You're doing it because you need to check a box. So, what is your goal? Like, what are you shooting to try to do? Are you trying to do every species of python? Are you trying to do a certain number? Like, what? Talk us through that, because it's very impressive, I got to say.
I appreciate that. It started as I really looked up to Dave and Tracy Barker, and they had bred the most species of pythons that anybody I could have found out. So a while back, I just was curious, a morbid curiosity, like where I had bred quite a few species, and I was just curious where I stacked up with the people that I respected and had inspired me to breed multiple species of pythons. And so I made a list of all the pythons on a spreadsheet, and then I asked prominent python breeders that I had respected what species they had bred. And so I basically came to some figures that what the other people had done. And so my original goal was just to breed more species than Dave and Tracy had bred. And I finally did accomplish that in 2022.
Damn.
And so after that, I was kind of like a ship lost at sea with no rudder. I didn't know what to do. And so then I set the bar at 50 species is what.
How many species are there? How many species of python are there? I have no idea.
I think there's 59, I think. 59.
Damn.
But to be fair, that's counting some species that aren't taxonomically recognized yet.
Right. But you'd be happy with that number. You would be happy with that number 50 is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, there's some species we can't get, so there's you can't breed something you can't get. But,
come on, bro, that's an excuse. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I guess I could move to Australia for 5 years and check a few boxes, but I don't know how I'm going to get any Bismarck Island scrub pythons. So.
Truth. All right, Bill, you got one? Or are you okay? Or should we come back?
Well, no, I've got one that is kind of an open-ended question, and what are your thoughts about keeping or breeding? What about checking the box of Boland's pythons?
That's one I would love to do. We'll see in a few years. See what happens.
You have them?
You have them, yeah.
You have them. What do you have? What do you have?
I've got a male and 2 females and one that's kind of a tweener. I'm not sure if it's a boy or a girl.
So they're subadults or?
They're like 3 feet long.
Okay. All right.
I've had them for a few years.
Okay.
Imports?
No, they're my friend in Florida bred them, and so 3 of them are U.S. captive bred, and then I have one import. And
so, are you going to utilize kind of the technique that your friend, whoever produced them, are you going to try to duplicate that, or do you have some ideas, some additional ideas, or you may tweak some things?
Yeah, I'll probably.
Because Florida,
I basically told him what I thought he needed to do, and then he did it, and he was somewhat successful. So I'll probably try to build on that. And do you think
keeping and breeding them in Idaho versus Florida is going to be a big hurdle?
I think it's like everything. It can be. There's probably some advantages and there's probably some disadvantages.
Right.
I think I've bred enough pythons up here. I know I have a decent idea of what if I have a decent feeling that I'll be able to get in the ballpark of getting it done. Whether I'll succeed or not, I don't know. There's a lot of really good python breeders tried and failed. So I don't want to sit here and act like, oh, I'll do it, because I may not. It's it just is what it is.
I'm pretty sure
the prices that they've gotten to now, if for whatever reason, if I ever had to start over, I just wouldn't. So they're just.
But at the end of the day, if you start producing them and they are that price that they are now, if not more, you'd be fucking going on some vacations, right? Some money time.
I guess. I don't know. I'd be real tempted to sell them for old school prices, so people who actually should have them have them.
Oh my god, you would kill Nerd.
Well, he can fuck off.
Yes, Ryan, that's how we end things.
That's how you end a podcast.
Yeah, bro, dude.
It's pretty ridiculous. So.
Damn, man. Well, I wish you all the success in the world, and I know more likely the first podcast to hear if you have success with the Bolins will be this podcast for sure. I'll make sure of it.
I don't know. This might be the first time I've publicly acknowledged even having them. So
there we go. Fucking the coolest podcast in the world.
Baby steps.
I keep it. I don't need that extra pressure. So
you got this shit, man. Listen, I know you're very nonchalant, but at the end of the day, if anyone could do it on a level of that no one's done, it's for sure you. So
there's that guy in Missouri, I think, is crushing it.
Yeah, Scott Flood, man, that's my guy right there. I recently talked to him over the phone, and he's on his 4th year breeding Bolins.
That's not the guy I'm thinking of. There's that Mark Miles or whatever.
Sorry, yeah, maybe it's not okay.
I think he's had 4 or 5 clutches in the last couple of years too. So
wow, here we go. Well, fuck, Ryan, we had over 100 people tapped in on tonight's episode. So what do you have to say to all the love and support that we had and all the yellow neonate fanatics that you just created, probably?
Well, I hope I don't care about the baby color as much as I just want you to like green pythons. I don't, they can be amazing as they're supposed to be. You don't have to tinker with it.
Well said. For people to be on top of what you have going on, Ryan, would you say you're pretty active on Instagram or Facebook? What do you prefer people to hit you up at?
I don't know. I used to only do Facebook until this guy named MJ was giving me shit about Instagram.
You're going to be on TikTok.
I do Instagram now.
You're gonna be Snapchatting and TikToking.
Yeah, you're gonna be throwing snakes in the air and whoop-a! You're doing all sorts of fucking
man,
cool
I
things.
don't know. It's a wild world, man. I can't get over how different it is from when I started.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of not only this podcast, but the group chat that we have going on Instagram. Man, you're a good guy, Ryan, and I love everything that you have going on. And this episode was fire as fuck. So,
Well, I appreciate it.
Guys,
My
do me a favor.
pleasure.
Go give this guy a follow on Instagram. All right, hit him up and give it up. It's a wrap for Ryan Young, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you three are worthy of a nice clap as well.
Oh wow,
Well,
thank you. I appreciate that.
You've never got the guest clap before.
There you go.
Hey Ryan, enjoy your night, my man. I'm sure we'll be talking soon. So take care, buddy.
All right, thanks for having me on, man.
See you, Ryan.
Later,
Take
buddy.
care,
Ryan.
Marshall.
Damn, great episode, man. Came in blazing for sure. And I gotta say, he hung in there. I mean, he did great.
Ryan is such a pompous, sarcastic fuck.
Hey, Bill, we're still on. We're still live.
We're live, man. We're live. We're live.
And I was gonna say that's why we get along so well, man.
What if Bill was like, what a load of shit?
No, Ryan is one of the OGs that I can remember from like the early forum days, and he's pretty much been, he's been singing the same song ever since I remember from back in the day about
Not a flip flop. Not a flip flop.
No, he's not a flip flopper at all, and I can respect that. I mean, I fuck with him, he fucks with me, but at the end of the day, they're just snakes. Like nobody takes it that seriously, I don't think.
And I love Ryan, but at the end of the day, he is a fucking flip flopper. He did work with designers in the very beginning, so I mean, that kind of put a spin on.
I'm glad that I remembered that. Like I can't believe I didn't remember that until it just came to me.
That was awesome, man. You called him out.
I loved it. Fuck yeah, bro. Because everything, what happens in the dark will come to light eventually. And he lit himself on that one.
We got to get a shirt. We got to get a shirt made. Molecular reptile.
And I'm telling you, it has to be him squeezing red neos in each hand. I'm telling
Absolutely. No, maybe like even like holding like the sickness in one hand and mosaic in the other.
Or yeah, the sickness in one hand and then Alex Warren on the other, and he's just squeezing both of them. I'm just kidding. I love you, Alex. Hey, listen, guys, great episode tonight. I appreciate it. Anytime. I mean, Tuesdays are always a hit, man. But we had well over 100 people tonight, so I'm really stoked on tonight's outcome. And Marshall, why don't we start with you? What do you have to say to all the love and support we had on tonight's show?
Thanks, man. Again, it's just been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Tuesday nights. I'm learning a lot. Getting to talk to other like-minded people. So it's been fun.
All right, my man Bill.
Yeah, I missed you guys last week. Glad to be back. And
You didn't miss us. I saw your pictures. You didn't miss us.
He was like, "Fuck, I got to go back to work next Tuesday. God damn it!"
Listen, it was Cancun. It was Tuesday, and man, I just wanted to get on my keyboard so bad. I love hanging out. I love hanging out with you guys Tuesday, and I really feel like I've gotten to know so many people in the chat. It's really, it's really cool. And we had a big turnout in the chat. That was Ryan Young doing that.
Yeah, it was all Ryan, man. They're all here to see Ryan just kind of kill it, and he did for sure. And I got to say, you guys did as well. I appreciate both you guys for always coming through and making Tuesday nights as special as they are. But guys, please follow my man Marshall Mendez, Red Mountain Herbs on IG, and of course the mayor, Phoenix Reptiles. Give it up for my boys, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wrap. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. Talk to you soon. Peace out, guys.
See you guys.
Peace. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this Tuesday night. I hope you guys enjoyed. I thought Ryan Young brought the heat, as I knew he would. You don't play, man. We need to see more of Ryan. That's a fact. What a wealth of knowledge. And we're just, if you are someone out there like myself who's just trying to learn more about other cool stuff to work with in the hobby, you got to have a friend like Ryan Young, man. And you have to have a friend like tonight's sponsor, GS Reptiles. Shout out to Gary Shavino over at GS Reptiles. Shout out to all tonight's sponsors. You can find all the sponsors' information in the description below. And I appreciate everyone in the chats, all the support for the guests and for the co-host and for this segment. It really means a lot. Everyone coming together, not only in America, man, but we have Asia from Germany. We have Canada that taps in. Trap Talk is global. Appreciate all the love and support. Hit that like button. Get the likes up for Ryan Young. He deserves all the likes on this episode for sure. And then, of course, if you were really digging tonight's episode and this is your first time hanging out, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. It really helps me and motivates me a lot. So thank you for all the love and support. Don't forget, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to get more out of what you see out of each episode, if you want to get behind the scenes, go down to the very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord. Taps in with over 200 trappers. And there's an awesome Instagram group chat that you can get connected with. So many great things from the Patreon family. And I love all my Patreon members. You guys are my heart. Cannot wait to connect with you guys even more. Don't forget, man, tomorrow's history is being made on this channel tomorrow. That's right. For the first time ever, a new segment that does not involve me whatsoever. This is a whole new thing for Trap Talk. This is what turning Trap Talk into a network. We have my man, Stephen Cush, starting off his very own segment on Wednesday nights right here. Cush's Corner going down. Hope you guys are ready, man. Stephen Cush is a beast. So much to bring to the reptile world, and it's happening every Wednesday moving forward. So you guys have a lot to look forward to, and please tap in for my man, Stephen Cush. Show him all that love and support that you show me, man, because he's one of my boys. We go way back. And Steven, I'm so excited and happy for you. His first guest, the homie Alex Myers, that he goes way back with. This is going to be a banger, okay? And these guys do not hold back when it comes to dropping knowledge. It's going to be amazing. So be ready for that. Set that reminder. It's going down again, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Wish me luck. I got surgery tomorrow, too. Just saying. I'm not asking for sympathy, but make sure it goes all good. You know what I'm saying? Wish me luck. I won't be here this week, all right? I'll catch you guys here next week. But you have Wednesday to look forward to. You have Thursday to look forward to. My man, Emilio Villarino's taking over the trap with Dave Levison. All right. They're going to be pushing a cool, big U.S. ARC episode. So tap in for that. That's one thing you don't want to miss. My boys, again, show them the love and support. And again, guys, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm out. Ryan Young, you killed it. Appreciate it. My dogs, Bill Stiegel, Marshall Mendez. Mad love and respect to all 3 of these freaking legends, man. These guys are amazing. And this reptile hobby is amazing. It's a beautiful place to be. And I hope you guys have a good night. I'll catch you guys here next week, and I'm out.